All right, what's up, everyone? Once again, I'm doing a little push press live for you. I know it's been probably at least a month, maybe a little bit longer than that since I have last done one of these. And this is a topic that we've experienced and used in our gym, and I think it's gonna be one that's gonna be really beneficial to all gym owners, coaches, etc. So let's kind of take a look at what that looks like here. All right. Let me make sure this pops up over here. Cool. And hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, just type in the chat, just say yes. But yeah, so today's topic is all about team communications. And like I said before, it's an important topic because the better that your team is, knowing what's going on, the better your gym is going to be, the better experience that your members are going to get. So one thing I really, really appreciate about, push press and how it functions with my gym is just the integration with communication. So we're going to kind of walk through that and show you how you can set that up and just some best practices, at least that I've learned from my gym. So kind of a quick overview. Click on here. So effective team communications. We're going to look at a couple of different things. Meetings, setting up some standing meetings. For us, that's weekly, and I'll go into that in a few details. Quarterly professional development and what that process looks like. Performance reviews. I did a topic on this I think my last presentation was on performance reviews, so you guys can check that out in this group. And then, daily communication. So that's really kind of the most effective thing. And the thing that everybody touches consistently. So probably all of your coaches need to know this, whether they're full-time or part-time, etc. So we'll look at each of those areas and, see how everything affects everything else. So cool. So let's talk about meetings. Meetings are obviously really important. I am a big fan, though, of not to meet just to meet, but meetings with a purpose. So you always want to have an agenda. You always want to have a purpose for your meetings. And so the way we do it at our gym, we try to keep it really professional when we have these meetings. We have a standing meeting every Monday at 10 a.m., but ideally we're only meeting twice a month. And the reason for that is I want them to book off the time so that we can, in case something comes up or there's a reason we need to meet. However, I don't want to have the meeting unless we have some important topics to discuss. So here's kind of our basic agenda, and you guys can see this on the right side of the screen. But you obviously start with attendees, like who's all here. Most of the time it's just our full-time coaches. Sometimes we get some part-time coaches that are available to help out and attend. Then we do a review. So the review section is basically anything that we talked about previously that might need some, kind of follow up on it. Then from there we have started communication and discussion. So these are typically new topics or topics that might need a little more focus more than just, the last time. We also, and that's actually where we spend probably the majority of our time discussing everything that's going on. We also put professional development skill review. So every once in a while, like maybe once a month or once every 6 weeks or so, we toss something in there and let a coach, get to coach the coaches, which is always a really cool thing. It also has, gives us a focus on professional development. So whether that's, doing an individual skill session or something, points of performance, it's, hey, here's the CrossFit Level 2 schedule is up and you guys need to get signed up for that. Things like that. So making sure professional development is part of our meeting. We also have something about schedule, just, there's any upcoming schedule changes or things that we need to be aware of. We put programming on there as well. We don't always hit programming every single time we meet, but once again, when we're shifting cycles or we don't, we have some big new changes coming, programming might be the entire focus of that meeting. And then lastly, we finish up with a calendar of upcoming events. So that's always kind of important to know what's going on, what to prepare for, and that way everybody just has good communication tools. So Once again, standing meetings are a good practice, but don't have a meeting unless it has a purpose. So I'm a big believer on that. So the next section is quarterly professional development. So that's really important, at least in my organization, but I think all gyms should have that. And this is really like a half day, sometimes a full day, but I think a half day is probably the most effective, where you can spend some time and really just talk about professional development. So we're actually having one coming up in a couple weeks, and actually this weekend, not in a couple weeks, but here's a couple topics we're doing. So one, just reviewing the athlete experience that we want at our gym. That's such an important topic for me. The experience is everything in my gym, and so I want to make sure all of us are on the same page. What are the expectations, and maybe there's some things that we've learned and have changed, maybe since last time we had that big picture discussion with everyone. We always do something that's performance-based, so some kind of point of performance or movement, but we want to see and give feedback to our coaches on how they coach others. So that's pretty important. Right now we're doing a book review on the 5 dysfunctions of a team, which is a really good book. And so that's going to be an hour-long discussion. And then we're actually going to do some maintenance on barbells just to kind of show that process, how it works. So that way everybody has that skill. So when we need that done in the gym, all of our coaches have prepared for that. So the previous one we did was just our CPR class. But yeah, professional development is an important part of our culture of for our coaches, and so we do those on a quarterly basis. So that's just a couple ideas for you. Performance reviews, like I said before, I shared this with you guys in a previous presentation, but we do a quarterly performance review where we talk about class procedures, coach standards. That's usually, most of that's based off the CrossFit Level 2 guideline. Look a little bit at business metrics, help our trainers set goals for both leadership, professional, and personal. And then a client review. So we get reviews from the clients that they manage and what they think. And there's always that optional peer review. So if you want more details and data on how we do it, check out that other presentation that I had presented about 6 weeks ago or so. So let's talk about daily communication. So this is where we spend most of our time, and I'm sure the same thing for you in your gyms. So obviously email is a great tool. The way we like to use email is really for most important and official information, more of a professional environment. So email, not so much on sending jokes or what you may see in a traditional office, but for us, since email is a very we don't use it a ton, maybe a couple times a month. It's really mainly official communication. Some organizations, everything they do through email is, everything's done through email. But for us, email is primarily between the client and the coach, not so much between coaches and ownership. So with that being said, we have some other tools now, kind of get into details of what that looks like. Push press notes is also a really great feature of push press. So we use this to communicate with our clients, keep our notes on our clients, and set reminders. So you'll see how we do that when I talk a little bit about Slack, one of our really cool integration with push press. So we kind of started off our daily communications. At one point we had a piece of paper that we would fill out after each class or whatever. And the problem with that is, if I didn't make it to the gym that day because of other commitments, I had no idea what was going on. Plus, it made the coach, have to take some time either during class or whatever to write a note. And then when a coach would come in, they may not have had time to read that note. And so there would have been something about the workout that day. There would have been something about maybe somebody got injured or any of those, important topics that nobody would have known about. So with that in mind, we really invested a lot of time in Facebook Messenger. So we did a lot of those daily updates like, hey, don't forget to remind your athletes about an upcoming event. Or, here's what happened today in the workout. Make sure you guys plan, for this amount of time. This was a weird thing, et cetera, et cetera. So, we loved Facebook Messenger. It was really nice, but we ended up realizing there were some problems with it. And A lot of times there's just so much going on in there. Like people were having a great time, posting jokes and having a lot of fun. But when the important stuff came through, sometimes that got buried. The other thing I heard is, sometimes we need to just cut everything off from the gym. So, for example, if I know for me it's easy and pretty regular where I work on the gym all hours of the day. Sometimes when I first wake up, right before I go to bed, middle of the night I wake up, can't stop thinking about it, and I need to work. But the problem is if you send somebody a message on Messenger and they already spend a ton of time on Facebook, they're going to get a notification and they're going to check it. And so, I would send a note out at 11 o'clock at night, and the reason was I wanted the people to see it the next morning. But everybody would see it at night, right before they went to bed, and then they'd forget about it. So just things were not really organized. It got jumbled, and then a lot of important topics got lost. Other people do that with like text messages, but kind of the same thing. So we really wanted to find some kind of personal and professional life separation. We use Facebook groups are for more permanent information, similar to how we set up email. But it was just more permanent information that we wanted to kind of document and leave there. The problem with that is we didn't post in there frequently enough. So whenever things would get posted in there, not everybody would see it. Or if they saw it, they wouldn't meant to come back later and it just got lost. And if you're like me, I'm in, dozens and dozens of Facebook groups, whether it's being an owner, push press, my personal gym, some marketing stuff, whatever it is. I mean, I'm dozens of groups and things just get lost. So we had the problems with that. We easily forget about things. So we decided, hey, we're going to scrap Facebook. We're going to go and use Slack. So if you haven't used Slack, it is amazing. It's absolutely super incredible. And I'm actually kind of going to give you a little test or taste of how we do it at my gym. But what's really cool about Slack, you can organize things based on topics like hashtags, etc. And you can see over here in this user note, you can actually get a reminder through Slack in the specific channel. So that is really, really cool. So I'm going to show you briefly. Let's get out of here and I'll show you kind of how we have it set up, and I'll get some more details. So as you can see, here's Slack. We have a push press channel and a CrossFit Como channel. And you can see a lot of the different channels in here. So you see some channels that are just kind of open, like coach development, products, general. Then you have some channels that are locked. You see this little lock? Those are private channels. And so those private channels are, maybe specific to things like we have payments, for example. That's a private channel that not everybody needs access to. And so these are the topics where you can see, professional stuff going on. So, and I'll give you some examples of which ones to set up for your gym here in a few. You also have your direct messages. So what's really nice, what I love about Slack is that everybody knows if there's communication in Slack, it's mostly professional. It's mostly about the business. And this is a great tool. And I'll tell you this, my coaches really, really appreciate being able to kind of separate some work and life. Cool. So let's go back in here. So how to set up, you want to do that through the app's dashboard. Invite your coaches with their email to your channel. You're going to set up their username. Once they join the channel, you set their username up in their profile on PushPress, and that's where they can get tagged by actions in PushPress. And then make sure you download the mobile and desktop version. So we have 3 help docs right now that are set up to kind of talk to you a little bit about Slack. There's obviously some more information about Slack that we can put in those help docs, but that's a good way to kind of get it set up. So definitely reach out and look at those. I'll kind of walk you through what that looks like here on the integrations tab. So over here you have our navigation. If you hit apps, you're going to see all these different integrations. Okay, so just scroll down till you see external apps, and then click on Slack, and then hit configure. So what you'll need to do is then enable Slack here, get your webhook from the Slack service, and then you put your notification channel. So as you can see here, I have 3 notification channels set up. We have the standard, or actually 4, sorry, the standard notifications. You can send check-in notifications, payment notifications, member notifications, and lead notifications. At a minimum, I highly, highly recommend just, having the lead notifications. I ended up liking seeing the payment ones. I think that's important for me, just kind of get a handle on the business and what's going on every day. Member notifications is pretty important. That's when people cancel or change memberships. And then lead notifications, obviously great because I'll get a little ping on my phone that says, hey, we have a new lead coming in. So that way I can get on PushPress and assign that lead out to a coach. So it's really cool. And I'll show you back here on this presentation is when a new lead comes in, you can see over here, all their details are right here. So why they want to come in, and this is what shows up in Slack. Then once you go in and assign it, it then tags the coach, who the lead is, and then you can actually click on that link and get to their information on PushPress. So that's a super, super cool feature, and like I said, it just really, really improves communication. So here are some suggested channels and topics for you to get started. Like I said, for us, leads, members, schedule, coach development is important for us, programming, general logistics. So you can imagine each of those channels, that's all you talk about in there. So for example, if our coaches need time off the upcoming month, they put it in the schedule, and then when I spend some time on the schedule, I go and open up that channel and I can see all those requests. So that way things are organized. So I'll tell you this, Slack has made my life so much easier. It's improved our communication. It's allowed our coaches to use it as a professional tool. And there's so many amazing features with Slack, like so many. One thing that's kind of neat is you can set like your notifications or set times where Slack will notify you. So I think the default is after 9 p.m. it'll sleep, so that if things happen in the chat without being directly tagged in it, it'll just sleep and you won't get notified. It won't, actively ping you, which is kind of a nice feature. So, and just allows you, like I said, a little personal and professional separation. But like I said, I'm so thankful that we integrated Slack, and I'm really thankful that PushPress has that integration set up. And to my knowledge, not one other single membership management program does this, and this is a huge, huge value for communicating. I don't know how your gyms are all set up. I don't know how much time you get with your coaches, but my coaches are on shifts. I have AM shifts, mid shifts, and evening shifts, and I'm not there at the gym during all those times. And so this is a really great way for all of us to communicate across the time, keep everybody in the loop, keep them up to speed on what's going on. So the last piece, private and public channels, I kind of touched on that. What's really cool is you can invite specific people to specific channels. And, so if you have full-time coaches that need to know information, but maybe your part-time coaches don't, you can set those up in a special channel. For example, like our leads channel only has our admin, myself, and our coaches in there, because nobody else, our part-time coaches don't need to see the new leads coming in so much. So anyways, I'm going to leave you guys. Dan made a quick comment. Let me show you something actually real quick. This is a kind of fun thing. So I'll show you this. So every time we sell or convert a lead, you'll see that here. So every time, you can see this right here, a lead converted, we get these fun little GIFs. This one's actually kind of cute. So that's, I guess, something that the programmers, Dan and Chris and all them guys set up. But that's kind of a fun thing to celebrate every time we convert somebody from a lead to a member. So that's fun. So anyways, I'll sit on here for just a minute or two. If you have any questions about the Slack integration or team communications or anything I can help out with, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Let's see. Okay. Well, all right. Well, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll keep an eye on there and I can respond. respond in the comments. But yeah, this is like I said, Slack is a great tool for your gym and a great way to communicate. And I highly recommend getting it set up. If you have any questions about setup or how any of it works, or some more best practices, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to share the presentation with you guys. So have a fantastic weekend. It's beautiful here in Missouri, about 80 degrees. So enjoy your weekend, and let's keep crushing the gym ownership. So take care, everyone, and talk to you soon. Thanks.